everybody, I've had quite a few of y'all asking about the CJ-5 lately, so a lot of you have asked for a walk-around video, which I haven't done yet. So tonight was a fairly nice evening, so I thought I'd go ahead and shoot one real quick. Let me get this camera turned around if I can figure out how to do that, and we'll get going. Okay, so here is, I guess we're going to start here on the front. So obviously you can see I am missing a headlight ring, which is okay, it's an old Jeep. I have one over here, but I need to find another one to put on the other side. I think it's a 48-inch high lift jack that I cut down and kind of made it so that it would be proportional to the front of the Jeep and long enough to where it's still functional. I like the look of those, although I hope to never need to use it because I think they're kind of dangerous. Obviously, if you know how to use it, you're going to be okay, but I would rather not use it if I don't have to. This is a Smitty built XRC winch. It's the 9,500 pound winch. I'm extremely happy with it. It works really well. The one thing I would have done different when I bought it is I would have bought the one with the synthetic rope. The steel cable is just really hard to work with. I wouldn't say it's really hard to work with, but after helping a buddy wheel in his winch rope, and it was the synthetic stuff, it makes me want to go buy the synthetic rope because it's just so much easier to spool it up when you're done using the winch, and it's just so much easier to handle it. So this CJ-5, I've had a lot of people ask if I have a lift on this Jeep. I do have a lift on it. It is a 2.5-inch rough country lift, and it's funny, my old suspension was just so weak that I measured before and after on this Jeep when I did the suspension lift, and the 2.5-inch lift ended up raising the Jeep about, I think it was a little over 4.5 inches. The old suspension was just so flat. But these leaf springs, I think they're 9 leaf springs, and they're just super beefy springs. I have the rough country shocks that came with it on the front. I know they say Fox on them. I had some Fox stickers, so I put those on instead of the rough country stickers. But the steering stabilizer is a Skyjacker. You can tell by the red right here. The Fox steering stabilizer does not have red on it. I think those are black. But I just like the Fox stickers, so I put those on there. Now my rear shocks, those are Fox shocks. I bought them to put on the front, and then realized they were a little bit too long. They work very, very well on the back, so I was happy about that. On the CJ-5, the rear shocks are a little bit longer than the front ones, so I was able to use them. I only bought 2 to start with because I didn't know if they'd fit or not. But so I'm glad I only bought 2 when I was doing the lift because they ended up not fitting the front. So it rides beautifully down the road. I can't complain about it at all. It does wander a little bit to the left or right just because the steering is a little bit loose, but it does not have any wobble in it, which I can be going 45 miles an hour, pretty much top speed for an old Jeep, and it won't be wobbling at all. So I can watch that front wheel and it's just going straight down the road. So I can't complain about it at all. I've got these. I made these. I guess you could call them steps or rock sliders. You can use them for both. I use them for a step, but this is, I think it's 2 1/4 or 2.5 inch black iron gas pipe, and then I've just welded some little caps on the end so that I didn't have water and stuff getting in there, and to improve the look a little bit. You can't see because there's mud on them, but I used a ball peen hammer and kind of hammered it up a little bit so that it kind of has some character. But like I said, there's so much mud you can't see it. And this is just a piece of angle iron, and then I've got these little things welded on here to kind of hold it all together, and then it's got 4 bolts in it. It just goes through the body, and then I have steel plate on the back side that way, just kind of beefs it up a little bit. What else can I tell you about these? Oh, the paint. The paint is where did I get it? Eastwood. I got this from Eastwood, eastwood.com. And I think it's just called rust encapsulator or something like that, but it's extremely durable. I mean, this stuff is, especially for a rock slider, these things go through a lot of wear and tear, and they haven't really scratched or anything, which I'm really happy about. They look good, and this stuff is almost like a bed liner type stuff, but it's not very textured. It's a little bit textured, but not like the full-fledged bed liner that you get it like in a 1-gallon can or something. But this came in a spray can, and I think I used one can to do both of them. I bought 2 cans. I did a full coat on both of them, and then let it dry, and then went through and did another coat on them. And I think I ended up using about 1.5 cans. So I highly recommend anything that you need to paint that has a lot of wear and tear on it, like rock sliders. I highly recommend that paint because it's just so durable. I guess I can move to the back. I've got a pintle hitch on the back. It's not really practical for actually towing trailers. I'm not going to be towing a trailer with my Jeep anyway, unless it's an old Jeep trailer, which would use a pintle hitch. I like it because they're really good for, you know, if somebody's trying to tow me out of a mud hole or something from behind. It's a good one to hook onto with a strap or something. A ball hitch would work, but these pintle hitches just work way better than a ball hitch when it comes to trying to pull something or pull something with a strap, is what I'm saying. And then if somebody's trying to pull you out of something, it's just a lot easier to hook onto. Then I've got my spare tire here, and I got my dual-matic locking hub on here for my 5-wheel drive. That's a must on an old Jeep. You've got to have the 5-wheel drive. That'll really come in handy a lot. The spare tire carrier I made it specifically so that the tire would sit inside the Jeep. I didn't want it outside because either I would have to put it on the back, which would mean that I wouldn't be able to use my tailgate, which I wanted to use my tailgate, so that was not an option. Or I could have it mounted on the side, like a lot of them were back in the day, but that just makes you 10.5 inches wider on the side of your Jeep, which fitting down tight trails, I've learned is not a good place for your spare tire. It can get hung up on trees and logs and rocks and whatever. So I really wanted it inside. The only downside is I can't have my back seat in, which is fine because I very rarely have anybody riding with me. And if I do, it's only one person, so that's not a big deal. And if I ever need to have my back seat in, I can always take my tire off. I wouldn't have the spare tire with me, but hopefully I wouldn't need it. There's the other rock slider. Again, I really love these things. They're just super beefy, and they work really well, and they look really good. I've got the old Sears locking hubs on this Jeep, and when I got these hubs, they were in pretty bad shape. They were stuck. They wouldn't turn freely. They were just covered in grease and dirt, and I cleaned them up really good. And then I had the old what were they? The Warren hubs, the ones you have to like stick your fingers in and try to turn them, and they're kind of difficult, especially when they get kind of old and you don't keep fresh grease in them and keep them maintained like you should. They get really hard to turn. Where these, they're a little bit more forgiving, where you can just reach on the whole thing and get a good grip on it. And that's why I really like them. And then what I did was to get you can see how the letters are silver. What I did was I just painted them like normal, and then I got a block of wood and some sandpaper and just went over it lightly to get the paint off. So that way the little checkered flag on here and where it says Sears and disengage and engage, you could see it as kind of a different color, and it's more silver. And then I put a clear coat on it so they wouldn't rust. But I'm a big fan of those. I love them just because you can get such a good grip on them. We'll go ahead and lift the hood up so you guys can see what we've got in here. It's just the original 4-cylinder Hurricane engine, also known as the F-head. I haven't done too much to it. I have put new valve guides in it. I've put new valves, new valve springs, piston rings, all new gaskets. I had the carburetor rebuilt by Joe Jennings. If he's watching, shout out to him. You can follow him on Instagram. I think it's Jennings Jeeps or something like that. But he does a really good job rebuilding these carburetors. I'm super happy with it. It was definitely worth the money to have it rebuilt, and I was able to get rid of the Solex, which was really nice. There was nothing wrong with that Solex carburetor. It's just I much prefer the original Carter YF than that reproduction carburetor. This engine runs really good. It doesn't smoke at all, which I'm very thankful for. The old one, well, not the old one, before I did all the work to it, it smoked a lot. But so this one's definitely running a lot better. I've noticed it's really starting to get broke in because every time I drive it, it seems to be running better. Um, that's one thing with these Jeeps is you've got to run them and drive them and enjoy them because when they sit, they just start to wear out. I've got the original mechanical fuel pump on here, right there, with the glass bowl on it. A lot of people will put electric fuel pumps on these things, and I really don't know why, because you don't need that. I mean, I can understand if you're having trouble with your mechanical fuel pump not working, it's like just go get a new one because they work fine, and they're not that expensive, and they're just really classy. I think they're really neat to have on there, where you can actually see the fuel in there, and I just think that's neat. But I think some of you probably saw this and think it's an air conditioning compressor. This Jeep does not have air conditioning. That is actually there for onboard air. It's a York 210 AC compressor, and you can see how it has little ports in the side, and there's two right here and there's two on the other side, and I was able to put like a little oil fill tube here so I can keep it lubricated, and then a dipstick, because I don't know if you guys know anything about refrigerant circuits, but this compressor has got two pistons in it, and the way that it's lubricated is in an AC system. The oil travels with the refrigerant, and obviously with this, since I don't have refrigerant traveling through the compressor, there's no way to have it lubricated other than filling the crankcase with oil. So that's why I have obviously the dipstick and the oil fill tube. Now this thing, again, since it's designed to have the oil travel with the refrigerant through the circuit, it will spit some oil up. So you have to keep an eye on the dipstick and make sure that it stays full. I think it uses about 3/4 of a quart, and it's 30 weight non-detergent motor oil, or lubricating oil. Really, I don't think it's motor oil, but you can find that at Walmart in the lawnmower maintenance section. They have it. Again, it's 30 weight non-detergent motor oil. So it comes out right here. Here's your intake, and then here's your discharge right here. It goes down to a Webco air dryer. So that's like what you would see on a semi-truck. And what that does is that filters out any water. The reason I wanted an air dryer is because I didn't want any moisture getting in my tank. Because of where it is, it's kind of hard to drain it. So this way I don't have to drain it as often. I do drain it, and I get very little water out of it. But again, I just didn't want to have to worry about draining it all the time because it's kind of hard to get to. The tank is back there underneath, bolted to the bottom of the body on the Jeep. And I think it's a 3-gallon tank, and this compressor will fill it with 150 psi in probably about 45 seconds. So I can go through and I can air up all my tires in under 5 minutes after being on the trail all day. And I love that. I did do some work to my alternator the other day. What I did was I actually took the old generator off, and I put a generator on, and I had to put a different style belt on it and a different water pump pulley. So I ended up having to take the belt off of the compressor, and I need to. What I'm going to do is at some point I'm going to take the battery tray out. That's where the battery actually goes, and I have it mounted on the firewall here with a bracket. And what I need to do is, I think I can take that tray out and then make some kind of a bracket to just mount the compressor lower, and then I can drive the pulley off of the crankshaft pulley. I was driving it off of the water pump pulley. I had a double pulley on there, but the thing is, and I kind of figured it would happen, it started to wear out my water pump. The bearings started to squeak in it. So that's part of the reason I went ahead and unhooked it, because when that's running, there's tension on that water pump, and it's kind of pulling it in two different directions, and it's just wearing out the bearings really quick. So I think running it off of the crankshaft pulley will be a way better idea than running it off the water pump. But this has the original T90 transmission in it. It's a 3-speed. It doesn't go very fast, but it'll go pretty much anywhere. The gear ratio is just so low. You know, they say they'll pull a house. You know, they really will. They got so much torque, and they'll just climb over anything, which is kind of what it's all about. I don't really care that it doesn't go that fast. You know, it goes 45 miles an hour pretty much tops. You can probably get it up to 50, but I really just prefer to take it easy and go slow, take the back roads, and kind of enjoy myself. But it's a fun Jeep, and if you guys have any questions about this thing, just go ahead and put it in the comments. You know, I'm kind of new to making the videos. I've been putting some videos on my channel, but they're pretty much just driving videos and that kind of thing. So this is actually the first video that I've made, I think, that I've actually done any talking in. So I'm kind of new at all this. If you guys have any constructive criticism, I will be glad to take it. Again, because I'm new at this, I'm learning how to do it, and I'm kind of enjoying it. So again, if you guys have any questions, just put them in the comments. Please smash that like button, and please, if you have not yet, consider subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And sign up for the notifications by clicking that notifications bell right down there at the bottom. That's what everybody does in videos. They always point, so I'm doing that too. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around through the whole video, and I wanted to give you guys a little, kind of a little teaser for the next video. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about all the big changes coming to the CJ-5. I have some pretty major changes coming pretty soon, so for those of you who stuck around to watch the end of this video, you know what the next video is going to be about. So please keep an eye out for that, and like I said before, if you guys haven't subscribed, please do it, and sign up for the notifications so you know when that video comes out. You guys have a good one. Thanks for watching.